I hear the rain before I see it. Soft, hesitant drops against the floor-to-ceiling windows of our Darling Point penthouse, overlooking Sydney Harbour. The city glitters below like scattered diamonds, boats bobbing gently at their moorings, the opera house luminous against the darkening sky. It's the kind of view people kill for, the kind of life women dream about. And for 3 years, I've been living it. My name is Charlotte Hayes, well, Charlotte Ashford now, and I'm 28 years old, standing in a $12 million apartment, wearing a silk robe that costs more than most people's monthly rent, feeling absolutely nothing. That's not quite true. I feel the weight of the platinum wedding band on my finger. I feel the emptiness of the king-sized bed behind me, still perfectly made because my husband hasn't slept in it for 6 nights straight. I feel the familiar ache of hoping for something I know will never come. Love. Our marriage was never about love. I knew that from the beginning. 3 years ago, when James Ashford walked into my father's struggling accounting firm in Parramatta with a proposition, I understood exactly what was being offered and what was being asked in return. James needed a wife. Not just any wife. He needed someone respectable, educated, poised. Someone who could stand beside him at charity galas and board meetings. Someone who understood that the Ashford empire required a certain image. His grandfather, the formidable Edward Ashford, founder of Ashford Mining Corporation, had made it clear: no wife, no inheritance, no CEO position. James was 32 then, brilliant and ruthless in business, but his personal life was apparently too chaotic for the old man's traditional sensibilities. I needed security. My father's firm was drowning in debt after a client lawsuit nearly destroyed everything he'd built over 30 years. Medical bills from my mother's cancer treatment had already consumed their savings. We were months away from losing our family home in Epping, the modest 3-bedroom weatherboard where I'd grown up, where every corner held memories of better times. The contract was simple: 3 years of marriage, public appearances as required, separate bedrooms, discretion above all else. In exchange, my father's debts would be cleared, his firm would receive enough capital to stabilize, and I would receive a settlement of $2 million when the arrangement ended. It seemed like a fairy tale in a twisted sort of way. Marry a handsome billionaire, live in luxury, save my family. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, as it turns out. Everything. Because somewhere between the contract signing and now, I made the fatal mistake of falling in love with my husband. And he made the mistake of never noticing. The penthouse is silent except for the rain and the distant sound of traffic far below. James is at the office again, which has become his default excuse for absences that stretch longer and longer. His assistant, Rebecca, always confirms his alibi when I call. Yes, Mrs. Ashford, he's in meetings. Yes, Mrs. Ashford, he'll be working late. Yes, Mrs. Ashford, I'll pass along your message. I wonder if Rebecca knows she's lying. I wonder if she pities me. My phone buzzes on the marble kitchen counter. I cross the open-plan living area, all white leather, steel and glass, designed by some award-winning architect whose name I can never remember, and check the screen. It's a text from my sister, Sophie. Coffee tomorrow, miss you. Been ages since we caught up properly, ex-say, Sophie. My beautiful, vibrant, 25-year-old sister, who works as a marketing coordinator for a boutique firm in Surrey Hills. She still lives in our parents' house, still drives the same battered Toyota she bought at 19, still lights up every room she enters with that effortless charisma I've never possessed. Growing up, Sophie was the golden child, popular, athletic, naturally gifted at everything she touched. I was the serious one, the studious one, the responsible eldest daughter who got good grades and never caused trouble. Our parents loved us equally, I know that, but Sophie was always the one who made them laugh, who brought joy into the house even during the darkest days of Mum's illness. I adore her. Even now, even with the distance that's grown between us since my marriage, I love my sister with a fierce protectiveness that's never wavered. I text back, "Tomorrow sounds perfect. 10 a.m. at our usual place?" Her reply is instant. Perfect. Can't wait, XOXO. I set the phone down and returned to the window, watching the rain intensify. The harbour is turning grey, choppy with wind. I should eat something. There's probably some gourmet meal the housekeeping service left in the refrigerator. But I'm not hungry. I'm never hungry anymore. The penthouse door opens behind me. I turn, hope flaring stupidly in my chest. But it's just James's assistant dropping off some documents he apparently needs for tomorrow. She offers an apologetic smile, promises Mr. Ashford will be home soon, and disappears as quickly as she came. I don't believe her. I return to the bedroom, our bedroom, though only one of us actually uses it, and catch my reflection in the full-length mirror. I barely recognize myself anymore. My brown hair, once long and wavy, now falls in sleek, professionally styled layers to my shoulders. My body, always slender, has become almost gaunt, my collarbones too prominent beneath the silk. My green eyes, once bright with ambition and hope, look tired. I look like a ghost haunting my own life. The contract expires in 3 months, 90 days until I'm free to leave, free to collect my settlement, free to start over somewhere far from this beautiful, suffocating existence. I've already started planning it in my head. Maybe I'll travel, maybe I'll go back to university and finish the psychology degree I abandoned when Dad's firm started failing. Maybe I'll finally figure out who Charlotte Hayes is when she's not pretending to be Mrs. James Ashford. But first, I have to survive 90 more days of this. I climb into bed alone, pull the covers up to my chin, and listen to the rain until I finally, mercifully fall asleep. The next morning dawns clear and bright, the storm having washed Sydney clean overnight. I dress carefully for coffee with Sophie, a casual Zimmermann dress, Gucci sunglasses, Valentino sandals. The uniform of Sydney's eastern suburbs, the costume I've learned to wear. My wedding ring catches the light as I grab my Hermes bag, and I pause, considering taking it off. But that would raise questions I'm not ready to answer. The cafe in Double Bay is one of those trendy spots with exposed brick hanging plants and an incomprehensible menu full of activated charcoal and turmeric lattes. Sophie is already there when I arrive, tucked into a corner table, looking radiant in a simple sundress that probably cost $50, but looks like $1 million on her. She jumps up when she sees me, pulling me into a tight hug that smells like her signature vanilla perfume. "Charlie, God, you look amazing. Too thin, but amazing." "You look beautiful," I say truthfully, settling into the seat across from her. "New haircut?" She touches her blonde waves self-consciously. "Just a trim." "Nothing compared to your whole—" She gestures vaguely at me. "Situation. How do you even maintain all this?" I laugh, but it sounds hollow. "Team effort, hairdresser, personal trainer, nutritionist. You know how it is." "I really don't," Sophie says, but she's smiling. "Must be nice, though, living the dream. If only she knew." We order flat whites and avocado toast for both of us, because this is Sydney and that's apparently the law, and fall into easy conversation about her work, Mum and Dad's plans to finally take that trip to Queensland they've been postponing for years, the latest drama in her friend group. I'm halfway through telling her about a charity gala next week when I notice she's not quite meeting my eyes. There's something off about her energy, a nervousness that's uncharacteristic of my usually confident sister. "Sophie," I say gently, "what's wrong?" She looks up, startled. "What?" "Nothing's wrong." "Why would something be wrong?" "You're fidgeting. You never fidget. And you've checked your phone 4 times in the last 10 minutes. She sets her coffee cup down with slightly too much force. Okay, there's something I need to tell you. But I don't want you to be upset. My stomach tightens. What is it? I've been seeing someone, she blurts out, for about 8 months now. It's serious, Charlie. Like, really serious. He's incredible. Successful, smart, generous. He treats me like I'm the most important person in the world, but there's a complication. I wait, dread building in my chest for reasons I can't quite name. He's older than me, Sophie continues, speaking faster now. Quite a bit older. And he's technically still married, but it's complicated. He's in a contractual arrangement. His wife knows there's no real relationship there. He's been honest with me about everything from the start. The marriage is just for appearances, for business reasons. It's ending soon anyway, and then we can finally go public. The world tilts slightly. The cafe noise, the hiss of the espresso machine, the chatter of other patrons, the clink of cutlery becomes muffled and distant. "Sophie," I hear myself say, my voice strangely calm. "What's his name?" She hesitates. "I can't tell you yet. He needs to handle things carefully because of his position, but I promise you'll meet him soon. Maybe at that gala you mentioned. He's attending, actually. We thought it might be time to start being seen together in public." I can't breathe. The pieces are falling into place with horrifying clarity. 8 months ago is when James started coming home later and later. 8 months ago is when he stopped making any effort at conversation during our mandatory public appearances. 8 months ago is when whatever small, fragile connection we'd built started disintegrating. But it can't be. It can't be James. Sophie would never, James would never. "Charlie." Sophie's hand covers mine. "You've gone pale. Are you okay?" I force a smile that feels like cracking glass. "I'm fine. Just surprised. I'm happy for you, Soph. Really." "You deserve someone who treats you well." She beams, relieved. "I knew you'd understand. You always understand everything." God, Charlie, I'm so in love, it's ridiculous. I know it sounds crazy, but I think he might be the one. He's already talking about our future together, about all these plans. She keeps talking, words tumbling out in an excited rush, but I've stopped listening. I'm doing calculations in my head, remembering dates and times. James's sudden business trip to Melbourne 8 months ago. The weekend he claimed he had to fly to Perth for emergency meetings. The countless evenings he's worked late. No, I'm being paranoid. Sydney has thousands of wealthy, older, married men. The fact that Sophie's mystery boyfriend fits James's profile doesn't mean anything. It's just my insecurity talking, my fear that my husband finds me so utterly undesirable that he'd choose anyone, even my own sister, over me. But the doubt has planted itself, a poisonous seed that I know will grow. We finish our coffee. Sophie hugs me goodbye, makes me promise to come to Sunday dinner at Mum and Dad's next week, and floats off down the street with her phone pressed to her ear, laughing at something the caller says. I stand on the pavement watching her go, the Sydney sun suddenly too bright, too hot. My hands are shaking. I need proof. I need to know I'm wrong. I return to the penthouse and do something I've never done before. I invade my husband's privacy. His study is usually locked, but I know where he keeps the spare key, in a hollowed-out book on the living room shelf, something I discovered months ago by accident. The study is exactly what you'd expect. Mahogany desk, leather chair, walls lined with law and business books, framed photographs of Ashford mining operations in Western Australia. His laptop is password protected, but his desk drawers aren't. I find it in the third drawer, tucked beneath some contracts and financial statements, a small velvet box from Tiffany & Co. My hands shake as I open it. Inside is a necklace, delicate rose gold with a pendant in the shape of an S. Not C for Charlotte, S for Sophie. I stand there holding the box, staring at that tiny letter, feeling my entire world reconstruct itself into something unrecognizable. Every late night, every cancelled dinner, every time James kissed my cheek perfunctorily before leaving for work, all of it suddenly means something different, something devastating. My husband is having an affair with my sister, and neither of them has any idea that I know. I carefully return the necklace to the drawer, lock the study, replace the key. I move through these motions with mechanical precision, as if I'm watching myself from outside my body. Then I walk to the bathroom and vomit until there's nothing left. When I finally emerge, I catch sight of myself in the mirror. My careful makeup is ruined, mascara smudged beneath my eyes. I look like a stranger. I feel like a stranger. But underneath the shock and the pain, something else is crystallizing. Something cold and hard and sharp. They think I don't know. They think I'm oblivious, the convenient wife who will quietly disappear when the contract expires, taking her settlement and her bruised pride and leaving them free to live their grand love story. They're wrong. I may have entered this marriage as a transaction, but I won't leave as a fool. I won't be the humiliated wife, discarded and forgotten. I won't let my sister steal my husband, even if I never truly had him, without consequences. 3 months. I have 3 months to figure out exactly what those consequences should be. I repair my makeup, change into workout clothes, and head to the building's private gym. I need to think. I need to plan. And I need to do it while looking like everything is perfectly, beautifully normal. Because that's what Mrs. James Ashford does best. She maintains appearances. But beneath the surface, beneath the designer clothes and the practiced smile, something has shifted. The ghost haunting this gilded cage has just woken up. And ghosts, as they say, can be terrifying when they finally decide to make themselves seen. The next few days pass in a surreal blur. I go through the motions of my life with perfect precision. Morning Pilates session, lunch with other wives from James's business circle, evening at home alone. James comes and goes like a shadow, barely acknowledging my presence. Before, his indifference hurt. Now, it clarifies. I watch him differently now. I notice things I'd trained myself to ignore. The way he checks his phone constantly, smiling at messages he never shares. The way he showers and changes clothes before leaving the house, even when he claims he's just going to the office. The expensive bottles of wine that disappear from our collection, James rarely drinks, but apparently his mistress does. My sister, my beautiful, vibrant, traitorous sister. I torture myself wondering when it started. Did he pursue her, or did she pursue him? Did they laugh about me, the convenient wife who'd signed her dignity away for money? Did Sophie know who he was when they met, or was it some cosmic joke, fate's cruelest twist? Sunday dinner at my parents' house in Epping approaches with the inevitability of an execution. I consider cancelling, claiming illness, but that would be suspicious. Charlotte Ashford doesn't cancel on family. Charlotte Ashford is reliable, responsible, dutiful. Charlotte Ashford is playing the longest game of her life. I arrive at my childhood home alone. James has a critical meeting that couldn't be rescheduled. The house looks smaller than I remember, the garden slightly overgrown, paint peeling on the front fence. But it's home in a way the Darling Point penthouse will never be. This is where I learned to ride a bike, where Mum taught me to bake, where Dad helped me with homework at the dining table. This is where Sophie and I shared a bedroom until I was 12, where we stayed up late telling secrets and planning our futures. She wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to be a therapist. We promised we'd always be there for each other. Always be honest, always choose each other over everything. I guess promises don't mean much when you fall in love. Mum opens the door before I can knock, pulling me into one of her warm, flower-scented hugs. She's wearing her favourite apron, the one with Australian wildflowers printed on it, and her grey-streaked blonde hair is pulled back in a messy bun. "Charlie, you look gorgeous, darling, but are you eating enough? Come in, come in. Dad's in the living room, and Sophie's already here helping with the roast." Of course she is. Perfect Sophie, helping with Sunday dinner. Dad rises from his armchair when I enter, setting aside the newspaper. He looks healthier than he has in years. The stress lines have eased from his face and he's put on some weight. My sacrifice bought him this peace. I remind myself of that as I hug him. "How's my successful daughter?" he asks, proud and loving, and completely oblivious to the fact that his daughter's marriage is a sham, and his younger daughter is sleeping with his elder daughter's husband. "Good, Dad. Really good. Business is thriving. Better than ever thanks to the capital injection from James. That man saved my life, Charlie. We'll never be able to repay him." The irony is so sharp, it cuts. Sophie emerges from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a tea towel, glowing with happiness. She hugs me, kisses my cheek, and I let her, storing every detail of this moment for later. The vanilla perfume, the new bracelet on her wrist, Expensive, definitely not something she could afford on her salary. The way she keeps checking her phone. Is she texting him right now? Is James on the other end sending her loving messages while I stand here playing happy families? Charlie brought wine, Mum announces, admiring the bottle I handed her. An expensive Shiraz from the Barossa Valley. This looks lovely, darling. Too fancy for us, probably. Nothing's too fancy for you, I say automatically. We settle around the dining table, the same table where we've shared thousands of meals, celebrated birthdays and Christmases, weathered crises and celebrated victories. The roast is perfect, as always. The conversation flows easily. Dad talks about a new client. Mum mentions running into an old friend at Woolworths. Sophie shares a funny story about her boss. And I sit there, smiling and nodding and contributing appropriately, while inside I'm screaming. "So, Sophie," Mum says, passing the potatoes, "you've been very mysterious lately. Always on your phone, always smiling. Is there someone special we should know about?" Sophie blushes beautifully. "Maybe. It's still early days." "Oh, how exciting!" Mum claps her hands together. "Charlie, did you know about this?" "She mentioned she was seeing someone," I say carefully. "She hasn't shared many details yet." "Because it's complicated," Sophie explains, that nervous energy returning. "But I promise I'll tell you everything soon. Maybe even introduce you to him. He's wonderful, Mum, really successful and kind and generous. I think you'll really like him." "As long as he treats you well," Dad says gruffly. "That's all that matters." I almost laugh. The hypocrisy is staggering. If my father knew his precious younger daughter was sleeping with a married man, with his elder daughter's husband, would he still be so accepting? "He treats me incredibly well," Sophie says softly, and there's something in her voice that makes my chest tighten. She's not just having an affair. She's not just enjoying the thrill of stolen moments and expensive gifts. She's in love with him, genuinely, completely in love. And somehow that makes everything worse. After dinner, Sophie and I end up in our old bedroom while Mum and Dad watch television downstairs. The room hasn't changed much. Our twin beds are still there, covered in the quilts Mum made when we were teenagers. Posters of long-forgotten boy bands still grace the walls. It's a time capsule of our adolescence, of a simpler era, when we were just two sisters dreaming about the future. Sophie sits on what was her bed, crossing her legs beneath her. This feels like old times. Remember when we used to stay up all night talking? "I remember," I say, sitting on my own bed, maintaining the physical distance between us. "We told each other everything." "We did." She pauses. "Charlie, can I ask you something? And will you be completely honest?" My heart pounds. "Of course. Are you happy? In your marriage, I mean. You never talk about James, and he's never around. I know you said it was a business arrangement at first, but I thought maybe things would change. That you'd fall in love or something." The question hangs between us, loaded with implications she doesn't even realize. "Why are you asking?" I counter. She fidgets with her bracelet, the expensive one. "I just want to make sure you're okay. You seem different, distant, like you're going through the motions but you're not really there." That's an interesting observation from someone who's been pretty distant herself lately. Sophie flinches. "That's fair. I know I haven't been around much. But I want to be there for you, Charlie. You're my sister, you're my best friend. If you're unhappy, you can tell me." The audacity of it nearly breaks my composure. She's sleeping with my husband while simultaneously playing concerned sister. Is she genuinely this oblivious, or is this some kind of twisted psychological game? "I'm fine," I say firmly. "The marriage is what it is. We have an understanding. But do you love him?" The question pierces something deep inside me. Do I love James? I did, or I thought I did. I loved the version of him I glimpsed occasionally, in rare moments when his guard dropped. The man who brought me coffee without being asked. The man who once spent an entire evening listening to me talk about my mother's cancer treatment. The man who looked at me during our wedding, our fake wedding, with something that might have been regret. But that man doesn't exist. He's a mirage I created to make this arrangement bearable. Love isn't part of our contract, I say finally. Sophie looks sad. That's no way to live, Charlie. You deserve more than that. You deserve someone who adores you, who can't wait to come home to you, who makes you feel like you're the center of their universe. Like your mysterious boyfriend makes you feel. She lights up instantly. Exactly like that. God, Charlie, I never understood what people meant when they talked about soulmates. I thought it was just romantic nonsense. But with him, everything makes sense. Every cheesy song, every romantic movie, every stupid cliché about love, it's all true. When I'm with him, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I force myself to smile. That sounds wonderful, Sophie. I'm happy for you. She reaches across the space between our beds, grabbing my hand. I want you to have that too. Maybe when your contract ends, you can finally find someone who actually deserves you. Promise me you'll try. I squeeze her hand, looking into her eyes, so earnest, so full of love and concern. She genuinely believes she's being a good sister right now. She has no idea she's twisting the knife. I promise, I lie. We return downstairs. I help Mum with the dishes, while Sophie and Dad watch some documentary about Australian wildlife. Everything is so normal, so mundane. If someone looked through the window at this scene, they'd see a happy family enjoying a Sunday together. They wouldn't see the fault lines, the betrayals, the secrets that are going to tear everything apart. I drive home to Darling Point as the sun sets over Sydney, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The penthouse is empty when I arrive. James's car isn't in his designated parking space. I wonder where he is, probably in Sophie's cramped apartment in Surrey Hills, wrapped around my sister, planning their future together. I pour myself a glass of wine, a 2019 Penfolds Grange that costs more than Sophie's monthly rent, and stand at the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the city lights flicker on one by one. 3 months until the contract expires. 12 weeks. 90 days. I need a plan. I need leverage. I need to understand exactly what I'm dealing with before I decide how to respond. The next morning, I do something I never thought I'd do. I hire a private investigator. His name is Marcus Chen, and he comes highly recommended by one of the wives in my social circle. Apparently her husband's infidelity was thoroughly documented by Marcus's discreet and efficient services. I meet him at a cafe in Newtown, far from my usual eastern suburbs haunts, wearing sunglasses and a nondescript outfit that doesn't scream billionaire's wife. Marcus is in his 40s, professional and direct. He doesn't ask unnecessary questions about why I need someone followed. He simply takes down the details. James's name, photo, usual locations, vehicle description, then Sophie's. You want me to follow both subjects? He asks, raising an eyebrow slightly. Yes, I need to know where they go, who they see, how often they meet. I need documentation, photos, videos, anything that establishes a pattern. And if they're meeting each other? Especially if they're meeting each other. He quotes me a price that would have seemed astronomical before I married James. Now it's barely noticeable. I transfer half the fee immediately. How long will this take, I ask. Give me 2 weeks for a comprehensive picture. I'll send you updates every 3 days. I nod and leave the cafe, feeling like I've crossed some invisible line. The wronged wife gathering evidence, it's such a cliché. But clichés exist because they're effective. The first update arrives 3 days later, and it's worse than I imagined. Marcus's report is thorough and devastating. James has been to Sophie's apartment 17 times in the past 3 days. He arrives late evening, leaves early morning. They've had dinner at 3 different high-end restaurants in areas where they're unlikely to be recognized: Manly, Cronulla, somewhere out west in Parramatta. They've spent an entire afternoon at a boutique hotel in the Blue Mountains. The photos are intimate without being explicit. James's hand on Sophie's waist as they enter her building. The two of them laughing over wine at a restaurant, a shot of them kissing in James's car parked in a quiet street in Paddington. My sister looks radiant in every single photo. And James looks happy in a way I've never seen. His face is open, animated, alive. This is what he looks like when he's with someone he actually wants to be with. I study those photos for hours, memorizing every detail, the way he touches her hair, the way she leans into him. The obvious chemistry, the connection I'd foolishly hoped might develop between us but never did. The second update is worse. Marcus has tracked a pattern. James has been paying Sophie's rent for the past 6 months. He's purchased her car, a new BMW that he registered in her name. The expensive jewelry she's been wearing? All from him. He's essentially supporting her financially while maintaining our facade of a marriage, and Sophie has been accepting it all. The third update includes audio. Marcus managed to place a recording device in Sophie's apartment, legally questionable, but I'm past caring about legal niceties. The conversation is from 3 nights ago. James's voice, "I can't wait until this is over. 3 more months of pretending, and then we can finally be together properly. Sophie, I hate sneaking around. I hate lying to my family. James, I know, baby, but we have to be careful. If Charlotte suspects anything before the contract expires, it could complicate the divorce proceedings. My lawyers need everything to be clean. Sophie, does she have any idea? James, Charlotte? God, no. She's completely checked out. She'll take her settlement and move on without a second thought. This marriage has been a business transaction from day one. She understands that better than anyone. Sophie, I still feel guilty sometimes. She's my sister, James, a sister who was happy to marry me for money. Trust me, Sophie, Charlotte knew exactly what she was signing up for. She's not a victim here. If anything, she's benefited enormously from this arrangement. The recording continues, but I've stopped listening. The casual dismissal of my feelings, the complete certainty that I'm just a mercenary who'll quietly disappear, it ignites something volcanic inside me. They don't know I fell in love with James. They don't know every indifferent goodbye shattered something inside me. They don't know I've spent countless nights wondering what was wrong with me, why I wasn't enough, why I couldn't make my own husband see me as anything more than a contractual obligation, and they're not going to know. Because that vulnerability, that pain, it's my weapon now. The charity gala is in 5 days, the same gala Sophie mentioned, where she plans to start appearing publicly with her mystery boyfriend. Where James will presumably work late to avoid attending with me, then show up later to be with her. I have 5 days to decide how to handle this, 5 days to plan my next move. I spend those days in careful preparation. I visit my lawyer, not the one who handled the marriage contract, but a new one, a woman named Patricia Wu who specializes in complex divorce cases and has a reputation for being absolutely ruthless. I outline the situation without revealing James's identity yet. I need to understand my options. The contract stipulates a $2 million settlement upon completion of the 3-year term, Patricia says, reviewing the document I've brought. But there's no infidelity clause. Because it was never meant to be a real marriage, I explain, the contract assumes we'd both be free to see other people discreetly. Except he's seeing your sister, which changes things emotionally, if not legally. Patricia leans back in her chair. Here's the question. What do you want? Because revenge and justice are 2 different things, Mrs. Ashford. One makes you feel better temporarily, the other protects your future. Can I have both? She smiles. Possibly, but it requires strategy. Tell me, does your husband's company have any vulnerabilities, any business dealings that wouldn't survive public scrutiny? I think about this. Ashford Mining Corporation is massive, diversified, seemingly impenetrable. But there's something, a memory of a conversation I overheard months ago. James arguing with someone on the phone about environmental violations at one of the Western Australian mines. Something about contaminated groundwater and suppressed reports. There might be something, I tell Patricia. I'll need to verify it. Good. We'll need leverage beyond the personal betrayal. And I suggest you document everything, every lie, every absence, every dime he's spent on your sister. We may not be able to use it all legally, but information is power. I leave her office with a sense of purpose I haven't felt in years. The next step is harder. I contact my father. We meet for lunch at a quiet restaurant in the CBD, just the two of us. He's surprised by the invitation. We usually only see each other at family gatherings, but pleased. "This is nice, Charlie," he says, studying the menu. "We should do this more often." Just father and daughter. "Dad, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me." He sets down the menu, concerned. "What is it?" "If you discovered that someone you trusted had betrayed you, not just betrayed you, but betrayed our family in a fundamental way, what would you do?" He's quiet for a long moment. "I suppose it would depend on the betrayal. And who committed it? Why are you asking?" "I can't tell him yet, not until I have everything in place. Just hypothetically." "Would you want to know, even if the truth would hurt?" "Yes," he says firmly. "Always. I'd rather deal with a painful truth than live with a comfortable lie. That's not really living at all." His words echo in my mind for the rest of the day. The night of the gala arrives. It's being held at the Intercontinental Sydney, overlooking the harbour, and it's one of the year's major social events, a fundraiser for children's hospitals, attended by Sydney's wealthiest and most influential citizens. I spent hours preparing. My gown is a custom Vera Wang, midnight blue silk that fits like water. My hair is styled in an elegant updo. My makeup is flawless. I look like the perfect wife, the ideal trophy spouse, the woman who was created specifically to stand next to James Ashford and reflect his success. James comes home to change, barely glancing at me. "You look nice," he offers mechanically. "Thank you. You're attending after all?" "I'll come separately." There's a work issue I need to handle first. The lie is so casual, so practiced. I wonder how many times he's lied to me without me noticing. "Of course," I say smoothly. "I'll see you there." I arrive at the gala alone, check my coat, and enter the ballroom with my head held high. The space is spectacular. Crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the opera house, hundreds of guests in designer formal wear mingling with champagne flutes. I work the room with practiced ease. I've attended dozens of these events over the past 3 years. I know how to smile, how to make small talk, how to represent the Ashford name with grace and poise. People ask where James is, and I deliver the prepared excuse about work commitments. Everyone nods understandingly. This is the world we live in. Business always comes first. I'm speaking with one of James's board members when I see her. Sophie enters the ballroom wearing a stunning red dress I've never seen before. Definitely designer, definitely expensive, definitely purchased by my husband. She looks nervous and excited, scanning the crowd, looking for him. My heart pounds, but my smile never wavers. I excuse myself from the conversation and make my way toward my sister. Time to force this into the open. "Sophie," I call out, genuine pleasure in my voice. "I didn't know you were attending." "You look absolutely beautiful," she startles, turning toward.